Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, I've already filmed this video like twice, but I finally think I'm ready to fully get into it. So this is a video I've made 2 times now, actually, within probably the past 3 years, I want to say, and every time I remake it, I'm more successful than I was back then, which is the same thing now. So I have some new tips and tricks on how to be a successful Roblox designer, but disclaimer before I get started, success does not just mean sales. It doesn't mean sales at all. It just means that, it means a lot. It means sales could be something that you consider success. I think if people recognize you, if they buy your clothing, if you're getting your name out there, if you're having fun, everything, then you're successful. And it doesn't have to be whether you have 1 sale or 1,000,000 sales. It really doesn't, there's not a number that like that person's successful. It just depends on a lot. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. This is going to be a bit of a longer video, so stay tuned. If you're interested on how to be a successful Roblox designer, then keep on watching. Alright, so I thought it was appropriate. I actually got this hat the other day, and it looks like your basic average bucket hat, right? Wrong. This I'm calling my noob hat. So I feel like I need to wear it for this video, for the vibes, for the Roblox vibes. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump on into this. Okay, so tip number 1. This is gonna sound confusing, but hear me out, okay? This has helped me a lot. I'm Kelsiana, many of you know who I am, okay? What am I known for? Just take like a second to think. No, you don't even need that long. It's the beach. Everybody knows me as either the mermaid of Roblox, the beach queen, beach, you name it. I'm all about the beach, bucket hat, beach necklace, beachy stuff, everything. I just love the beach, and that's just something that I really like. So tip number 1, find something that you're obsessed with or you like. It can be a color, a vibe, a word, a place, noun, whatever. Literally anything, and run with it. Like, run with it. When I mean run with it, I mean really run with it. Like seriously, like do it. Like make your stuff about that. Like, I'm all about the beach. That's my thing. Everybody knows that, and so it's almost like I've claimed it. Like, if you want beachy stuff, you come to me. Riley, for example, Miss Riley Lane, she's the pink queen. She's the princess. Like, that's her thing. Find something that you're passionate about and you know you'll never get tired of or bored of, because if you definitely aren't feeling it, it's gonna be bored real quick. So make sure that you really like it and just run with it. It doesn't have to be your entire brand, but it should be the majority of it. That way it kind of helps you get known more and people recognize you more. And like I said, this can literally be anything. Like the color blue, like you're just known for blue aesthetics. Could be an aesthetic, could be cottagecore, because that's really hot right now. You know, it literally can be anything, literally anything, okay? Like the beach is a place and works for me. You could do purple, you could do edgy, dark stuff. Like, just pick one thing and run with it. Again, doesn't have to be your whole brand, should be the majority of it though. Let's go to the next tip. Okay guys, so tip number 2 is to put logos on your clothing. Now wait. When I say logos, I am not meaning Supreme, Nike, Adidas, Disney, Nintendo, you name it. If you don't own the licensing rights, which I'll talk about that later, don't put it on your clothing. When I mean logos, I mean your own logo. Like mine, for example, is for Kelsiana, so I have a K, A, and a shell, and I put it on now all of my clothing. It's gonna save you a ton for the copiers, because yes, people can copy your stuff and it's really disgusting and I hate it. It just helps a lot that if you have a big logo right here, the copiers are kind of like, I don't want that. So it will save you in the copying, and it will also get your name out there. People will recognize your logo. Bam, bam, bam. You're like hitting all 3 points at once. Okay, tip number 3 is to find games that need designers and apply for positions. This is a pretty easy one, but still feel the need to mention it because it's true. For example, you guys may know me from Royal High. I actually am like on the dev team though. Like, I do more than just clothing for the game. However, if you're only interested in clothing, then hey, hit up whoever the owner is and be like, can I get my stuff in the game? Would you like to feature my stuff in the game? This is all original clothing, you know. sell yourself to people, you know? Go on the dev forums and be like, who needs a designer, you know? Like, go hunt for it. You gotta work for it and you gotta hunt for it sometimes, but it's way, way worth it. Okay guys, tip number 4. This is an important one, to listen up. You need a home store, okay? You need a home store. You need a physical place where people can go in and shop your stuff. I recommend a try on button. People like to try on stuff, but really you don't need it. I just recommend it because people like it. But either way, you just need a home store where like you can line up your clothing and people come and shop it. It helps with sales so much. It helps with your name. Royal High, for example, features home stores that are original. So like literally you need a home store. I probably wouldn't make it until you've made at least like 30 pieces of clothing, and then start developing the home store and putting your clothes in it, and people will come and shop it. Okay guys, so this next one is going to sound a bit confusing, but I promise I'll explain it. So find a style that works for you, but don't just limit yourself to that. Now hear me out. My aesthetic, if you will, is beachy, you could say. I love making beachy outfits. That's the majority of stuff that I make. However, I don't only make that, but I focus on it. Same, it goes along with tip number 1, but style wise, I like a very minimalistic style. I like a little bit of shading, but not over the top, because that's what works for me and that's what I like to make. However, somebody else loves, you know, the really cool white and black shading where it kind of looks like painted clothing. Some people don't like any shading at all. Find one that works for you and then just kind of like build up on it. They don't always have to be like that though, because I make edgy stuff every once in a while and people love when I do. So I don't only limit myself to just beachy minimalistic. I do edgy, heavy shading stuff too. It works, but make sure to focus on one and build your brand off of it, but don't only do that. Next tip was actually my last how to be a successful Roblox designer, and that is find a software that works well for you. So I use paint.net, and you can use it on a laptop, any like computer wise, except not iMac or iMac Pro. Those things it doesn't work on, so use a different software. Photoshop works, GIMP works. Those are some that I know, but just find one that works for you and really just take the time to learn all the tools well, because I still half the time discover a tool that I should have been using forever ago on paint.net. So take the time to learn everything and use it well, and I promise it will just help you in the future. Okay, so this next tip is kind of strange because you're like, wait a second, it doesn't really go along, but just hear me out. My next tip is to not only do clothing, and you're probably like, what? This is a how to be a successful Roblox designer. Why are you going to tell me about other stuff? Just hear me out. You don't want to put all your eggs into one basket. Now you can focus on being a Roblox designer. If that's like your main thing that you want to do, then do it. But try not to only limit yourself to clothing. Maybe if you're really good at making clothing, you're probably going to be really good at texturing models. So you can work with somebody on the models, you can make them yourself, just like how UGC is a thing now. Maybe try doing that. I promise you, it's so much better to not only just be a designer, it's better to just do a whole bunch of stuff. That way you always have something to fall back on. Okay guys, my next tip, stop comparing yourself to other people. You know, this one is a tricky one for a lot of people, and I understand why. But if you're a new designer, don't compare yourself to somebody who's been designing for 5 years. You're obviously not going to have as much experience as them because they've designed for 5 years. So I hate when people compare themselves like, oh, my shading's not as good, oh, my line work's not as good. Hun, you will improve, I promise. It takes time and takes a lot of practice. But stop comparing yourself and stop giving you a timeline to be like, well, I'm not good at this point, then I'm quitting. Don't do that. What is good? It's art. You can't really judge art, you know what I mean? There's certain things like, is the shading well done? You could say that, but you can't really judge art. At the end of the day, it's art. So stop being so hard on yourself and comparing yourself to other people. Okay guys, this probably is like the major tip of this video, so please, if you haven't watched any other tip, watch this one. This one is probably the most important one, so listen up. Be 100% original. Now, what do I mean by this exactly? Because like, what does that even mean? What I mean is the easy one. Don't copy anybody else's work. I don't mean just going on Roblox and stealing somebody else's clothing, like full on like taking it and stealing it and uploading it, because of course that is wrong. But I'm talking about that. I'm also talking about, I'm not gonna go look up my sister's clothing and just be like, I'm making one just like this. Original? No, that's not original. You can use a reference, but you better credit the person that you use the reference for, and it better not be the same. Better not be the same. The best rule to go off of is if you're using a reference, you better change it by at least half. 50% is what I've learned in school. and that's the rule I go by, and I've never had problems. I really don't use references very often just because I like to use what's in my head and just kind of start going with it. But if I ever do use a reference, change it by at least 50% in order to call it your own. Now, the other tip I want to give, which is like along with this, is again, no name brands, no Nike, no Target, no Adidas, none of that, okay? If you don't own any of the licensing rights to a Nike symbol, do not put it on your clothing, okay? That is a lawsuit waiting to happen because you're making money off of Nike, okay? They can sue you later on. This is just a bad idea. Just avoid it. Avoid it completely. So if you like are on Google and you're like, this picture is aesthetically cute, I'm gonna put it on my clothing, don't do it. If you don't own that picture, if you didn't sit there and take that picture and have the permission to have that picture and everything, do not put it on your clothing, you guys. Please, I'm begging you, only use your own assets. Like, please, 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 if you take anything away from this video, it's that. I'm trying to help you all. This one is just a good overall tip in life, but just be careful who you're friends with. Being a designer is so much fun, and you gain fans and, you know, all this love and everything. There's also a negative side that comes with it sometimes, where some people, you know, aren't as nice if you get bigger, you know, all that kind of stuff. So just be careful on who you open up to and, you know, who you trust, because there's a lot of good ones and there's a lot of bad ones, which is the same as everything. So, you know, just be careful. That, my friends, is how I think that you'll become a successful Roblox designer. It's really that fun. It takes a lot of hard work. I've been doing it for a few years now, so put in the work. You don't have to be a certain age to start, but you do have to be a certain age to DevX, which DevX means to change Robux into real money, like how you get paid. So you're gonna have to Google all that information if you're young, but there's really no age. I'm 21, so, you know, there's no cap age and there's no, you know, you can do it whenever you want. So don't feel discouraged by that. If you guys have any more questions for me, feel free to tweet. I'll have my Twitter right here, or my Instagram, or all my socials, whatever. And, or you can comment on this video and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye, everyone.